That is quite the regal introduction
This is
to
a
the
lot more
inaugural
complicated to
episode
switch over. Hey, sorry.
of the Writer's Room with Fifth Place Productions. Anybody lucky enough to witness this is going to witness us create a feature-length film, and this is where it all begins. Each week, we're going to unpack this story, Harlots. A few weeks down the road, we're going to tackle some other projects, but for now, we're going to get knee deep into passion project of mine about some older ladies that used to appear in adult films and decided to take a road trip to Vegas, where one of them is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at the Adult Video News Awards
Or something.
or something.
We're working on that part.
Working on that part. That's why we're here. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Terry Shepard. Over in the corner, it's my partner Jake Young. And down below,
In the middle on the screen.
in the middle of the stream, Ed Fonts. You can see how it's unpacked. But I'll just start off and just give a little bit of an introduction. I've been interested in writing for a couple decades now, and maybe for the last 10 years have been more focused on screenwriting. I've written a handful of feature films, and with Jake, we've written some shorts and produced them. And yeah, so now we're giving it a whirl. We're gonna show the world the creative process and how we flesh out a story. So, Jake, you want to give a little
Ed,
background?
why don't you go ahead? I don't mind finishing.
Thank you, Nigel. Number 10 made a comment that the minister's scandal is, sorry, wrong show. Golly, let's do that again. I thought that was. Hi, I'm Ed Fonst. What is there to say about me? I mean, I'm sure lots of people have lots of ideas, but I have worked with these two gentlemen for several years now on several different projects, and I've kind of done a little bit of producing and screenwriting on my own, and there are different reasons for that. I think that we'll go into later. But
Okay.
once again, I'm Ed Fonz.
I'm Jake. I've always enjoyed writing. I've wrote short stories and poems and songs and things like that ever since I was a kid. And I met Terry 8 years ago or whatever it was. Well, not met him 8 years ago. We've known each other before that, but knew of each other, I guess, before that. But really got into this movie thing about 8 or so years ago, I think it was. And we've been able to write some cool stuff and have some fun with it and get people to do things that's just stupid and that's fun. And yeah, that's just, I don't know. I'm here for the ride. I'm interested in seeing what a full script looks like start to finish. I do have a background in project management, so I hope I bring that to the table, and I'm excited to see how it all unfolds.
All right.
Here's a question. Terry, when did you write your first script? Your very first script?
Probably been 10 years.
10 years?
2000, maybe 11 years, 2010, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I wrote my first script, but before I tell you that, how about you, Jake? When did you write your first script? Because I know you.
Gosh, I don't know. 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
I wrote my first script when I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
So 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same. Right when I met my girlfriend.
Right.
But seriously, it was a knockoff of Easy Rider. And I asked, when I was writing it, I asked one of my friends who I was bugging about being in it, I said, what do you think I should call it? He said, who cares? So that literally is a project that basically three 13-year-olds riding their bicycles through Howard County. And and having the same type of adventures that Peter Fonda and Jack Nicholson and Dennis
Right.
Hopper.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think it sounds like a fun story.
Yeah. It's like super bad.
It's kind of like Superbad or Stand By Me.
Yeah.
You want to see a dead body?
Lard ass, lard ass, lard ass. Remember on the TV version of it, they wouldn't say lard ass. They'd just go lard, 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 lard. Because they couldn't say ass.
Ah, the good old days.
The good old days when you still couldn't say ass.
Mm-hmm.
Are you even old enough to remember those days, Ed? All right. So where are we at here, Terry?
Yeah, I'm old enough.
Yeah, so I think, where we're going to try to begin is just unpack this idea for the working title is Harlots of the Silver Screen. So let's unpack Harlots. We'll grab, and I've got this beautiful whiteboard that we can write all our ideas down and record, keep track of everything, and then eventually kill all our darlings that we come up with.
Yeah, well, you know what? Since you brought that up, I guess let's take a second and talk about the technical side of this, just real quick. We are just going to we'll have a whiteboard screen. This whiteboard is actually at Terry's house. Terry, if you want to go ahead and write something up real quick. There we go. So Harlots is the project, whatever. So we'll have this screen up. We'll do all of our note taking on this. From there, if we have anything that we want to capture permanently, Ed is currently typing out on the Google Doc that we're all sharing. These are all live docs. Obviously, the whiteboard's live. But anything that we capture and we want to track, we can put it here, and that way we can start tracking all of this, and you guys can track it along with us. As a matter of fact, we ought to have, at some point, once we get some of this stuff down, allow people to have access to it. Not to necessarily write, but to see, so that they can see where we're at if they want to catch up or whatever, so that they can see like a non-editable version of the doc. Does that make sense? So we have that version, and then we also have the Celtics, which is where we're going to actually write the script out, which is here. So Terry, if you want to pick something out on, do you have that page up?
Celtics.
Yeah. Here, I'll just take care of it. So,
Got it.
and Ed can do this, but Terry is going to be since this is Terry's script, Terry's going to be the chief writer on this. We want this to come through one voice, and my personal belief is that the voice that's going to capture that the best is Terry, not as a means of getting out of typing, even though that sounds dreadful, but because a lot of the fun that comes from some of the things that we do is through Terry, so it seems fitting. So Terry mans the helm on this project, and it is going to be freaking awesome. I'm super excited to see how this all works out. I really think we're going to have fun with it. And I have to remember, by the way, in the future, to change my duration to 1200 or 1.2 seconds up from 0.3, or else the transitions are all wonky. So that is now a part of the public record. All right, back to you, Terry.
That was math, wasn't it? Didn't you just do some math?
That was mathematics.
Was that math?
You didn't tell me there was math involved in this.
And there's a test.
Yeah, you're not making any friends over here if you start making me do math. That's
All
not
right.
gonna-
So what
Yeah.
is Harlots?
Let's talk about what is Harlots, or
So-
are Harlots.
Walk
Tell
us
us,
down
Terry.
the path here, Terry. How did this all
Tell us,
start?
Terry,
How did
yeah.
this idea pop up?
I don't recall the exact moment in time when that idea popped into my head. But around that same time, I think Ed had mentioned to me that he had an old acquaintance or maybe an old girlfriend that found a box of stag films,
Right.
and
Girlfriend, stalky. I mean, it's all
yeah.
the same to me. It's like a.
So I thought about that, the olden days, the dawn of pornography.
Right.
What was that all about? Like, people were just discovering film at the time, and so I thought, what about, maybe I had just seen Girls Trip. I think I had just watched that for the umpteenth time.
Right.
Where a group of gals, college friends, get together and take a road trip, and I thought, well, that was a funny movie. It was a fun story. It was cute. You got to know these characters, and I thought, what if this was a group of ladies who are now in their 70s or 80s, or late 70s to mid 80s, who are taking a road trip to Vegas to be inducted into to get some award from the Adult Video News Award
Right.
show. That there's, you could tell a lot of cute stories, backstories with these ladies, and where they are now, and if they are okay with their past, or
Right.
maybe that's ashamed of, or whatever.
So one of the things about that for me is the timeline, because if you're talking about present day mid 70s women, that means that they would have been born in the late 60s, early 70s, which was far more permissible.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe something to explore in all of this might be the idea of having it be a period piece, or maybe these girls are living in the 1980s or the 1990s, and
Yeah.
they were involved in some crazy shit back in like pre-World War II that put like blah, 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 whatever it ends up being on the map, which is why they're getting this like lifetime honor. But keeping in mind it's in the 80s, so it's actually at like an old Hilton in like the Armada room, right?
Yeah.
So this is all done in like the airport, one of the airport hotel lounges.
Yeah, the hotel lounge, or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of take over the space for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in like the South Park episode and offers everybody, is everybody good on coffee? Do we need any more water? Does anybody need water? No, we're fine.
Yeah.
When they're like
That
burning
could- that
the
could be a
gingers.
fun-
The gingers are burning.
That could be a fun take, that, the period piece. I've always thought about writing, the 80s were kind of my growing up period.
Yeah.
There's a big,
Hours, by the way.
it's ours. Yeah. So it might be fun. That might be a fun way to
Yeah.
approach it. Another thing I had considered is that, these ladies, maybe only one of them has that in her past. This is present day. They live in maybe an assisted living type retirement community. So they're still kind of capable. They're not completely in the hospice or nursing
Right.
home type situation, but that there's these two friends who, one is, this is her past and she wants to take this road trip, but she doesn't drive or have a way to do it.
Right.
But she's got a conservative acquaintance that she knows who would not be about this at all, who's 180 degrees from her character then
Right.
and now, that she somehow brings her along for the road trip, and it's revealed to her along the way what they're doing, what the intent is.
Right.
Maybe the old lady, the lady who is conservative, wants to take this trip to Vegas because she wants to give her husband's ashes. She wants to, that was a place her husband always wanted to go. She wants to release his ashes there.
Right.
There could be another story that why these two ladies are making this road trip.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there could be, man, there's just so many fun opportunities to kind of explore these characters. The idea of breaking somebody out, that could be where they end up going like at a halfway point to break out their third amigo or whatever it is, however it shakes out. Because having those kind of touch points and milestones along the the Odyssean journey that we're sending our old gals on is important. We need to have those trials, and we need to make sure that we set those milestones and those feats that they have to conquer, and we want a fair amount of them.
Yeah.
With plenty of time for lengthy introspection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tied up with a nice little bow at the end.
I'm going to do something super unprofessional and text my wife and see if she can get me a water. Actually, I take that back. I think she's watching. If my wife wouldn't mind grabbing me a water, that'd be awesome. I'm like dying. Actually, two.
I want to point out too that people. I mean, we've still got a few of the sex symbols of the 50s still alive. I'm looking right now at Mamie Van Doren. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Right.
Who basically at age 90, at least these pictures, which are probably about at least 10 or 15 years old, looks pretty damn good. And the idea of going way beyond, into a business and way beyond your years, I think we could let's say if someone's in their 80s, and it's 2021, so
that means they were born in the early 40s.
Right. So 51, 52 to 55, how old were they? That's what they're 18.
So,
yeah.
When I thought of the idea of making this maybe period, the problem that I was coming up with is the eras that we're discussing that these women would have worked in this industry, which again would have been somewhere in the 60s and 70s and 80s perhaps, when things were far more easier to obtain and things were starting to become more widespread. It also means that more things are known. So by having it exist in a time before a lot of those things were known, and maybe even having somebody at the awards be like, wait a minute, you're telling me that the first DVD wasn't in 1968? Well, then when was it? And you move across country to the nursing home, and you see old Sally Mae, who actually pulled this feat off in, 46. Trying to keep troop morale up by shoving K rations up her asshole, or however it works out. Sorry, I don't mean to go. I don't want it to necessarily be vile. I don't want it to be one of the.
K rations are horrible. So yeah.
Dude, that sloppy. What's become that sloppy, clumsy sort of? I'm just going to throw the most vulgar thing out there, and I don't want that at all.
Yeah, I want. I obviously. There'll be some jokes and some stuff that are, a little maybe over the top, but I want this to be a fun story that people enjoy. I mean, and you can still have an R-rated movie that is a fun, sweet story that people enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it's each one of them has a past where we talk about the Odyssey, Odysseus, and his journey home from the battle of Troy, and all of the different things that he faced, and that's kind of what we're looking at. So they could be anybody. They could be ministers. They could be just regular parents or housewives, but they have to face the circumstances that have come about because of their decisions earlier on in life. And so I think that's a universal story. And whether you say that gangbang I had one night back in Topeka back in '57 really changed my life. You can or
now do we have somebody who is part of that whatever time these ladies are in their 70s in, however that shakes out, that prude patrol that just can't let things alone. They have to chase people down. There was the cop that chased Cheech and Chong, and everybody has that thing that's kind of closing in on him.
The bad guys got to
Do we? Yes. So do we put that back? Because we.
Yeah, the antagonist, yes.
So we
and
had
the
talked.
antagonist could be possibly if they are kind of breaking out of the community or something like that. The antagonist could be the management of the facility,
Okay.
trying to track them down. Well, you know, so the whole time they're trying to outrun the maybe they stole the tour bus, or you know, the little bus that takes them
Hey,
around.
right.
You know,
Right.
you know, that's a possibility. That could be our antagonist.
Another one that I think you and I actually talked about at one point was maybe having like a grandson who wants to perhaps be heading out there at the same time, and they keep almost bumping into each other until they finally do run into each other, and like you say, Topeka or wherever, out in the middle of nowhere, and then it becomes, why is Graham going west?
The AVN and yeah.
Well, we'll just keep following her for as long as it takes us, but we got to make it to this AVN Awards, which would place it in current times, and then we would have to justify a few things, but
You know, we can take some license to it. I'm sitting here looking at, does everyone remember Seika? Seika
Yeah.
was an adult, yes.
yeah,
Mark-
didn't she end up becoming like a parliamentarian or something in Sweden?
No, that was a Swedish porn star. No, this one's, she was a DJ in Chicago. That's how she ended up. But she literally, I'm kind of shocked at this. She's 2 years older than I am. So, and she was late 60s, early 70s was her big, let's see, hang on, oh, 74, nope, I guess later than that, 74, footage from 74, okay. So anyway, yeah, I'm reading Wikipedia, by the way. I'm not actually on Pornhub right now.
All right.
If I was, you'd see my picture. Yeah, this is what my picture looked like.
All right, so why don't we do this for right now? Let's go over to the whiteboard.
Whiteboard.
Let's write a couple. What
Can we
paths do we want to go with this? So we've discussed some different ways.
Can I ask, could we have whiteboard music at some point in time? Do you think that could be arranged?
We can do all kinds of stuff, Ed.
Yeah, we could do music, like when we say the whiteboard, then.
Well, the original idea was we were going to have this one be not as produced, so that we could focus on the writing more and less on the product. Because everything that we do, I have to be involved in.
Let's do a cappella then. We can just like hum something, like.
Do you want to do that? All right.
Okay, that's it.
Harlots project on Google Docs. Anything we want to capture, we can track and put it here. Well
Yep.
said, sir. Well said.
I don't think I said that.
Piece 80s, present day, escape facility. How many girls do we have? Are there any boys? Are there any men?
Well, thus far, the few characters that I've created that I'm not married to, we have two women.
Mm-hmm.
One is our main focus, and I kind of written this a couple different ways, but the second one is her friend or acquaintance at the facility, who she's bringing along for the ride.
Right.
Who is very conservative and would never go for this if she knew exactly what the trip was for.
Right.
And then there's a gentleman in the facility who has a crush on our star, our protagonist.
Okay.
I kind of thought that he might also be able to help facilitate things along the way. Either if we go the route of them escaping from the facility, maybe he runs interference back home to keep the bad guys at bay.
Right.
And then eventually comes to save the day, and maybe him and the star fall in love. So that's those are the characters I've thought of so far. I hadn't really considered any male stars.
Okay. Except for maybe the person who's smitten with the one. And then what happens in your scenario? What happens with the girls? So the one girl is obviously has a little bit of a checkered past. Well, you don't want to call it checkered, I guess, just more colorful past maybe than some other ladies.
Yeah.
And then the other one doesn't know that. So now she's roped into this big porn adventure. What moves? Where does that go?
Well, she doesn't necessarily know that's what's happened. She doesn't know what the trip is about
Yes. Right.
or why she's going.
Right.
So I kind of thought the story would just be the road trip between those two, with the bad guys trying to ruin the day,
Right.
keep them from making it to Vegas,
So,
and then a blow up maybe between the two once the other one figures out what the whole trip was about.
Yeah,
so
I'd be pretty pissed if I was just drug out someplace for a porno festival.
Right.
so we're talking about 1 or 4 protagonists, because the idea is that either, and this is the way it works, either each one of them has their own breakout story that we follow, which is past tense in usual case, or we have one who has a lot to lose if this trip doesn't go through, and somehow or other this changes their life. This changes the way that they their whole attitude, or their whole lifestyle.
So could it be that the one who's going out there for it doesn't say anything because she is terminally ill? And that this was something that she wanted to do before she went, and this was the person she wanted to do it with, but she knew she wouldn't go, so she lied because she wanted her there. Maybe she could die on the trip. Maybe she passes away after the end of the thing, and that's how it resolves itself. And the friend shits herself and blows her head off.
That's exactly how I thought I would wrap it up. That's
Good.
a good bow.
And
A good shitty little bow.
the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all
Or the friend accepts the award on her behalf. The
Yeah.
one who's conservative and
Maybe she dies on the way.
that would
would have
and
never
that
gone
would,
for it.
that would make the conservative one the protagonist, because at some point in time she something changes inside her. It either says, it either does acceptance as opposed to judgment, or it does I can't see her saying, hey, let's all pull a train now in honor of so and so. I can't
Right.
see her doing that, but
But to go to the award and to accept it in her little Puritan outfit and her tiny, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she accepts her as a friend, despite the fact that some of the things she didn't really jive with her, and she accepts the award on her behalf.
She's her only friend at the home. They'd grown so close. This was something she really wanted to do, and she knew I would be against it, but she wanted to spend her time with me.
Right.
And then she gets to give the speech on both of their behalves, honestly. And then you're right. I think she should just get gang banged.
We could do that in the director's cut, which
No,
of course,
we're not
you
gonna
being a
gangbang.
director can do that.
No, but it would be because I think the big thing about all of this is the idea that people make choices, and just because you made a choice doesn't mean society may have told you not to be proud of that choice, but maybe you were all right with it, and for her being able to resolve that, and I think there's strength in those types of situations, and that's a fun story.
Yeah, so essentially then that would be the protagonist. Now, another thing to think about, and I'll just throw this out here.
Real quick, we need to be writing a lot of this now, because while we are recorded, we are also wanting. Aren't we recorded?
You didn't say that. Well, we'll go back through and we'll do a recap. That'd be a good idea to do a recap. So put your thinking cap, memory cap on, whatever. But the idea, if you take a look at the Odyssey, the end, Odysseus arrives at home and things have changed at home, right?
Right.
and no one recognizes him, so he comes in as a servant, and then decides what's going on isn't right, and so then he does a little shopping and becomes Odysseus again, and then the whole thing goes back to the way it should have been. It resolves itself. The denouement is there. So the end of it would be just the acceptance that the woman gives her friend, realizing she's been a true friend, and that then she does the speech, and within the speech the denouement happens. So all the different antagonists and the other folks are there to watch this whole thing, and they all get dealt with at that point.
Yes. They should all come closing in on her at the very end, and the speech be the thing that they all pick up on. Everybody should receive that speech. Who was a protagonist should now become.
Right, and that all resolves itself at that point. So yeah.
She goes home. She ends up going back with the people from the place. They end up taking the old other gal back and giving her a proper burial, and then the friend hangs herself in her room and shits her pants. It just has to happen, guys. I hate to tell you, but every movie has to have somebody hanging themselves and shitting themselves.
Well, then we should start the movie out with that scene.
Yeah, just get it out of the way first.
It's a nursing home, so shitting themselves shouldn't be too much of a theme. It shouldn't be too much of a reach, right?
Yeah.
I think the ending scene is the friend who accepted the award. She has the award proudly on display now in her room, like a big mural for it.
Right.
Shining light. So.
And it can be ridiculous. We could get just the dumbest thing made for it.
Yeah.
We need to come up with something really stupid for that award. It has to look super cool, but also have a very porno obviousness to it.
Right. Which I looked up as I was kind of doing research. I was looking at the AVN and the awards that they give, and it kind of had that vibe. So it's like two people embracing.
Okay.
Kind of like an Oscar, but it's just two people in an embrace.
Oh, okay. What if we did like a trophy, and then at the top of it would be one of those gold cast buttholes that guy does the chocolate, makes your chocolate butthole?
There you go.
What do you think?
I love it. Let me write that down.
Chocolate or gold or bronze cast butthole trophy.
Yeah, I like bronze better.
Or maybe it'll just be a super stretched out donut.
Did you get that, Ed? Super stretched out donut.
How do you spell donut? Is it with a U or without a U?
Yes.
Both. Move over and see what Ed's typing up here. Porn star, conservative roomie.
And one thing that I've been told when you're writing is to don't worry about a budget, don't worry about the number of scenes and actors, and just go for it and just make it this grandiose thing if you want to. But I've heard that advice, and I've also heard advice from people who have produced their own films, who have said, why don't you start it out with a small amount of locations, simplify the story, simplify the amount of characters, and focus on really fleshing out the story and those characters, because then when you're done, you will probably have the resources to pull that off more so than the grandiose multi-million-dollar budget.
Well, right, but we're trying to become millionaires overnight. We're not trying to. Have I told you about cryptocurrency?
You mentioned it once.
What's
Well,
that all about?
let me tell you real quick. Since we're on the topic, I'm just going to share this with you. I'm going to go to my.
You got that cough button? I'm going to burp.
It won't work for you. It only works for me.
My Doge is up about 800%, bro.
Now
So I invested $900, which I had to like fight my wife. I didn't have to fight my wife for it, but I definitely had to sell the project.
I can see the scars. Don't be shy. I can
And
see
so
it.
far, I have a return on investment of minus $431.32.
Oh. Hodl. HODL.
So I've almost lost half of our money. Not too shabby.
It's not bad.
Not too shabby at all. Thanks, Earl.
Just hold on.
Where's Earl at, man? Earl's supposed to be helping me out. We need to get Earl on the other show.
Hey, just hang tight.
Wasn't that his name, Earl? Wasn't that Chandrea's boyfriend's name, Earl?
I don't remember. No. Crypto man.
Let's use crypto as the Duke's ex machina. Duke's ex machina. You familiar with that term, Duke's ex machina?
No.
It's basically a machine.
Yeah.
It's some immovable, uncontrollable force that is there. If you take a look at Don Giovanni, the Duke's ex machina, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is the statue of the old man that Don Giovanni killed, and he's telling him to repent, or he's going to hell. You know, during this whole, if you've ever seen Don Giovanni, anybody see Don Giovanni?
No.
Anybody? No. How about Don Juan? The story of Don Juan.
Yes.
He's out, banging as many chicks as he can, wives, girlfriends, whatever. And
Right.
he runs into the father of one of the girls he deflowered, and he kills the father. And the father later on comes back as a ghost to try to get him to repent, and he refuses to repent. So then the ghost grabs him and takes him to hell.
Right.
So the Duke's ex machina is the statue of the dead father, and it's speaking to them. So I don't know what you think about something like that, like if you're going on a road trip, you could have the Duke's ex machina be a car. That could actually be some type of an antagonist in a way, but it's a way to get where you want to go, but yet still there's things about it that you have to please or do this or do that. So that's an interesting idea too. I don't know if you thought of that or not, but
So what would that have to do with the car?
the car is cranky. The car
Is temperamental.
It breaks down. Let's say it breaks down, and now they're in this coffee shop. Now they're discussing their life, and then as we go on down the road, the car becomes
Right.
the antagonist by breaking down and or taking off, like Herbie the Love Bug in a way.
Right. Okay, I got you.
Or Herbie the gangbang bug, if you want. You can make it that way. So then the
Well,
car
their Herbie will be the vehicle from the retirement facility, right? Because they'll be stealing one of their cars.
they can steal it. Then that allows the staff to go after them more viciously, because someone
Right.
stole old Betsy, from the cottage.
Then who is going to play the person who is the fan who works to break them out, or who's the inside person who helps them to coordinate this and acts as their inside guy to try to help them out? Who's that dude? And does he end up with them at some point? Like, does he hide in the trunk and you find out 3 days later that he's actually been there the whole time shivering?
That could be a big part of it too. Yeah. I don't know what do they call those?
Why didn't you take I-40 instead of I-80? He's freezing in the back because he's going through Montana.
And I kind of had an idea for a guy early on I introduced a guy that was in the facility that had a crush on our starlet.
Right.
And he kind of helps them along the way. You know, he either runs interference with the manager, you know, with the nursing staff or whoever it is.
Because he knows who she is.
He maybe he knows who she is, or he just has a crush on her and he doesn't know. Maybe he knows the story that she's told the friend as to why they're taking.
I think he's
trip.
a fan. I think he's a super fan, and
okay.
She doesn't know that. And then when she says, at some point, she'll say something to the effect of, "Well, you could never." So people could never love somebody like me. I've just had too sort of a pass, and he would say something about like you mean like the samurai dipper you pulled in 43? How did you know? Like he knows of the achievement. He knows who she is, and it's like it isn't something shameful for him at all. Not that it's something anything else either. It's just right.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe he finds it out along the way. He researched it. Wait, what? Ethel?
Ethel?
So, again, that doesn't make it right, but that's something to throw out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and, I think the supporting, I mean, because in his world, everything that he is looking for is in her. And with her, everything she's looking for is in this award. And the fact that she's using her friends and someone who might have a little crush on her to kind of help her get that.
Right.
She has to deal with that with her conscience. Her conscience she has to rationalize that it's worth, getting them all either in trouble or any of that to make this happen.
Because I imagine him as being younger, almost like a Harlan Williams kind of, you know what I mean? That kind of peculiar sort of character who
it can be, or someone who is younger who has kind of studied that video.
Right.
I mean, so really when we take a look at it, that they're supporting, it looks like that the porn star is the protagonist, but she's not. She's like the vehicle, the co-protagonist, because she knows she's dying. All right. She hasn't revealed that to anybody, but she knows she's dying. Her friend just wants to keep her out of trouble.
Right.
And so she goes along and she's like praying for her every night, et cetera, et cetera. We can throw that in there. I mean, it's great theater.
Dude, that's great theater. You're exactly right. Having the one laying in bed holding on to the secret that she's not sharing something, and having the other one over there praying.
Yeah. Loudly, out loud.
Yes.
Out loud to the top of her lungs.
Yep.
And then putting the pillow around her head, et cetera, et cetera. So the story kind of starts writing itself at this point once you set those characters up. And then the people from the hospital are, it's kind of like the cops in the Blues Brothers. At some point in time they get stiff, and now they're really pissed, and so now they've got reinforcement showing up, like at the end of the Blues Brothers when all the cops were around. That makes for a good time. Good time was had by all. So let me go back here and let's open up the Google Doc and see what we've got. I'm assuming that everyone can see this. So we've got a protagonist. We could use the porn star. We can go that way. We can use the conservative roommate.
Right.
We can use a nursing home paramour. That's another one where, I mean, it's like, what was it, My Favorite Year, where you're talking about when Sid Caesar, or no, when Mel Brooks had to watch this. That's the original story, but they changed the names. Had to watch Errol Flynn for Your Show of Shows, and Errol Flynn was a drunk, you know, pedophile, and he's after all these young chicks and everything, and he's drunk. And Mel Brooks had to keep him straight till the time for the show. So I mean, that could be, you know, that could be a part of it too. The antagonist of nursing home staff. Would you agree with that?
Right.
Yep.
Grandson, he threw that one in. That's an interesting little thing where the grandson's kind of tripping things up, or granddaughter, or a non-binary grandchild of some sort.
There could be any number of people that are involved in this.
Yeah, and I mean that would you know put a little bit more interest in it, because now you've got a separate storyline that, you know, they knew Granny is, you know, the sweet woman that gave them candy, and then of course they stumble onto these stag films where, you know, she's putting, you know, crap caramels up her yin yang, and
Jesus.
yeah, I mean, wow, now that would be a scene.
Grammy.
And even a grandson.
I'll never eat
maybe
50 roll again. Nope, never.
Maybe the grandson is, you know, college student, and he wants to head out to the AVN because he has this idea that he wants to become a star or break into the industry.
Yeah.
And he has no idea that his grandmother is a
Or maybe
pioneer.
he's just showing up to visit and he's furious that his grandma's missing. Maybe maybe it's the conservative woman's grandson.
Yeah, you could do either one. I mean, that's so we've got those possibilities.
right.
Now, the scene can be the not so distant past, or it can be, you can do a period piece like 80s, 90s, whatever. I don't think that'd be difficult to do production wise. But the idea of it, you know, you're doing a cross country thing, and I like the idea of starting in the middle of the journey. That's kind of the way, and we talked about narratives the other day, that everything, if you take a look at a lot of storylines, it starts in the middle of the journey. We haven't got there yet, and a lot of stuff has happened,
Right.
but we're starting here,
Right.
you know, but then you got to talk about the past, and then you've got to talk about, you know, then you've got to show, once it gets to that point, you've got a turning point in there somewhere that spins the whole thing around.
Right.
Okay, we're headed to AVN, everything is great, everyone's after us, and suddenly this car breaks down, and it's Betsy or whatever, you know, piece of crap, you know, beat it with a hammer, and so they're stuck, and so they don't know what to do, and so that becomes their turning point.
Right.
And everyone, you know, at that point in time, then we start making these discoveries, all these discoveries. So
Yeah, it could be something as simple as them finding a car magnet and putting it over the logo on the car in order to kind of obscure who they are a little bit. There, you know what I mean? There are different, and having the car as, because it's going to be the sore thumb.
right.
It's going to be the chief identifier. They can't just keep stealing cars. I mean, I guess they could, but I guess they could ditch it someplace and grab another ride. That'd be kind of fun. Or maybe they have to get on a bus, or maybe they have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At some point, yeah. You know, it's an interesting idea, and then of course, you know, calling it the machine that causes all this problem, and then you've got the narrative. The narrative is it a normal narrative like we're talking about where we started here? Do we start at the beginning?
Right.
And then toward that, the idea of starting in the middle says that we can review some of this stuff, and people are more, because once you put them in a situation where they're in the middle of nowhere, the car's broken down, they can't go anywhere.
That's how the movie starts.
Them. Yeah, all these people are after them, and they're in deep shit.
Right.
And everyone's going, wow, how do all these old people get here, and what's up?
Right.
So
you're talking about the first episode of Breaking Bad. Walter White's standing out in the middle of the road in his tidy whities, getting ready to point a gun at whoever the hell is coming down the road.
Yeah.
And taping confessionals. And then half an hour later, you figure out, oh, he's fine.
Yep. You unpack it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is an approach. That's definitely an approach.
I mean, it's
And
just a thought.
I don't mind it.
It's a thought, and at some point in time, we might want to go a different route, but that's
It's a
you know.
fun way to start it. A lot of movies have started that way. I mean, we wouldn't be the first. We won't be the last.
So we've got what about 3 or 4 minutes here. You want to talk about names? Have we come up with names for these characters, or Barry? What do you?
Yeah, I had initially had some character names. The protagonist was Judy Jones.
Judy Jones, and that would be the conservative one or the
The
porn
star.
Okay, porn
And then
star.
her friend is Grace, and these are just what I've come up with so far for the
Grace,
character's
her
name.
friend,
Grace.
Judy friend.
And then our guy with the crush on Judy.
Do we want to do it? Do we want to do it? That's his name, right? Do we want to do it?
Dewey.
Do we want to do it? Yeah. Willie fixed it. Betty don't. Yep. Yeah. Do you want to call him Dewey? That's up to
We can
you.
call-
I thought that was, yeah, I was just, I actually thought of that one myself.
Dewey Sprigg. Sprigg.
Dewey Spread, did you say? Is that what you said?
Sprigg.
Brigg.
Greg. And he is the friend.
2 G's.
Yeah.
No, he's
Yeah.
the
I like
wannabe lover, or
Yeah.
oh, you
I
want
had
to?
his,
I
had
use
his
the,
name as Gary initially, but
I use
Okay,
the word
Gary Sprigg then.
I use the word paramour, which is everyone understands what a paramour is, right?
Explain a paramour to everybody, Ed.
Yeah. Okay. Then we've got
Explain,
what?
explain paramour to everybody, Ed.
Paramour is an old time name for someone you got chubby for.
Okay.
And they might have it for you, but paramour is like you're like the star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, and also Riggs and what was Danny Glover's name?
Murtaugh.
Riggs
Murtaugh.
Murtaugh.
Didn't
Oh,
go over
yeah.
shit.
Only that was all manly stuff.
Yes. Oh, I bet there's some dirty fan fiction out there for Riggs and Murtaugh.
And I have written about 50% of it. All right.
My guy.
And my pen name is Dewey Sprigg.
Dewey Sprigg.
No,
2 G's. Damn it, Ed. 2 G's. Sprigg. I'm not letting you get away from putting another G on this damn thing.
Yeah, I really like Dewey. I like that.
You're
name
the
better.
worst.
Okay, let's do antagonist.
You're the
What
worst.
all in? So we've got a Nurse Ratchet somewhere which by the way, did you watch Murphy's Ratchet? Did you watch that on Netflix? That was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Sarah Paulson just
She's great.
oh yeah, just
So
fantastic.
perhaps, maybe we
let's-
have 2 antagonists
Yeah, you can have as many antagonists as you want. In fact, the more the merrier, quite
But-
frankly.
from the retirement home, too. So a team of 2 people that are tracking them down.
Okay, so these are staff, right?
Staff. 1 male, 1
Yeah.
female.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could bring in a private detective if we want, or we could do anything. So staff. So what would their names be? Let's give them the 2 people names. Number 1 is let's give them names. Joe Johansson.
That's great. I like
Perfect.
Joe Johansson.
Works for right now. And then staff 2.
2 would be Jurgen Yikinger.
We want
Okay.
a female.
Jurgen Yikinger. What is female?
Okay.
Or it could be Don
Rayla.
Perry too. Say who?
I had a Rayla is a character named Rayla.
Rayla, R-E-Y or R-A-Y?
Rayla.
Rayla
That's
Good-
it.
Goodhead, right? No, Rayla, what? Rayla, or just Rayla. Let's just leave her Rayla right now. That's
Robinson. That's good. Yeah.
Rayla Robinson? TBD. Okay. All right. So we've got more antagonists, right? You want the grandson in there? You want him to be?
So Grace becomes the paramour, right?
She becomes the what?
Maybe
No.
Maybe Grace is the one who is
Oh, we're gonna do a little,
envious of how fancy-free Judy is.
the House of Sappho. We're going to visit that, huh? Is that or Sappho? Is that what we're going to do? Is that going to be the
What?
The house of
that
what?
closet? Is that what you're saying? Is that she says, no, I want you and Sprig at the same time.
No.
Is that what you want or no?
No, that she admires her her
Carefree.
ability to cut loose, her carefree attitude, maybe her a little bit of her wiliness that she doesn't fully understand. She thinks it's all kind of just sort of whimsical and fun because she's a fun old gal. Maybe.
Yeah. I think when you say paramour that she wants to get busy. So I'm sorry, that's where my mind goes. But
Okay.
I can learn. I'm really.
We'll just call it friend, Ed.
I'm hip with what you kids are saying. I'm down with that. So antagonist 2, you want grandson? Grandson.
Yeah, I think we throw that in there.
What do you want to call him? For some reason, Robbie comes up, but I don't know. That's always a grandson theme, isn't it? Robbie.
Robbie does sound like a grandson's name, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's not bad. I don't mind it. Terry, do you mind Robbie?
No, I don't mind Robbie.
Brandon.
Brandon's good. I have a.
Do you want to be a son, or do you want to be a granddaughter, or do you want it to be?
You know who I imagine is Rayla Robinson? Glenna.
Who? Oh
Glenn-
yeah, Glenna
Yeah.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally see that. She'd look great. She would look great.
Robbie. TBD. Yeah, I've got her as an FBI agent in that thing that I want Lash and I to do, the cloning / bank robbery thing.
Oh, okay.
Again, which I've not really expounded on. But okay, so any other antagonists? So you want the car to be the car can be an antagonist.
Yep. Yeah.
But we antagonist. Oh boy, I haven't even touched the liquor yet. I'm already slurring. Antagonist car. Betsy. Nellie Bell. Everybody, you never watched Roy Rogers. Nobody here ever watched Roy Rogers, right?
Never.
Nope.
There was one his old in the TV series, his old sidekick had a Jeep called Nellie Bell.
All right.
But and we could call it Nellie Bell because quite frankly that's a generational thing if you want to. Nellie Bell. And we could change it. TBD. All right. Any other particular?
I don't know. I think that's a pretty strong start for right now as far as
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we moved a lot of dirt for only being after it for 45 minutes. Minus intros. That said,
We're dirty.
yeah, dude, this is some good stuff.
We're dirty.
And I like the direction. I think you're right, Terry. I like the idea of the conservative friend and the breaking out, and I think that's great. So
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun way to tell the story.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, do we want to start? We had talked about doing log lines. Ed, you had some
Yeah.
log line fun that you had lined up.
Let me find the log line thing here. Here we go. Yeah. This is from it's from a URL. It's called screencraft.org. Best movie log line screenwriters can learn from. Is the
Okay.
main article. So what it talks about is that there's a difference between a log line and a tagline. At the first thing in the article, it says like with Alien, in space, no one can hear you scream. That's a tagline.
Right.
It's anything below 25 words is considered a tagline.
Okay.
There are people that sit around and write those taglines too, in studios all over the place.
Sure.
Like the 40-year-old virgin, the tagline is, the longer you wait, the harder it gets.
Okay.
40-year-old virgin. So that's a different.
But we're talking about log lines, right?
The log lines. Now,
Okay.
log lines are a little bit different because they are typically one sentence that basically describes the movie. It describes the story.
Now, does it have to be more than 25 words?
Well, it's a consideration. Like this next one is not 25 words, but I'm going to read it, and that's the log line. See if you can guess the movie. The aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant son.
Godfather.
Godfather, correct. Okay.
Did you say Harold and Kumar?
Harold,
Could be. Number 2, after a simple jewelry heist goes terribly wrong, the surviving criminals begin to suspect that one of them is a police informant.
The Italian Job?
No clue. What is it?
I think a little bit more. I'm trying to think of, let's see. What's that song from Steelers Wheel?
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah. Yep.
That was
That's
Reservoir Dogs?
log line. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Say it again.
A simple jewelry heist goes terribly wrong. The surviving criminals begin to suspect one of them is a police informant.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Now, that could also be the usual suspect. That could also be part of that.
Yeah, I would imagine that one would read a little bit different. That's
Because that one's a little bit more, I guess, complicated. All right, here's during the U.S. Vietnam War, an army captain is sent on a dangerous mission into Cambodia to assassinate a renegade colonel who set himself up as a god among the local tribe.
Rambo.
Apocalypse Now.
2.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse.
Rambo 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Rambo.
Electric Boogaloo. Oh my goodness. I don't know. This one's really odd. See if you guys can guess it, because I can't see where the answers are, but 2 imprisoned men bond over a number of years, finding solace and eventual redemption through acts of common decency.
Shawshank?
That sounds like it to me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
is
It's a little bit more involved in that, but yeah.
Is it Shawshank?
I don't know, because it's not giving me any answers. So I'll look at the bottom of the page and we'll see. Okay. When a teenage girl is possessed by a mysterious entity, her mother seeks the help of 2 priests to save her daughter.
The Exorcist.
Actually.
Okay.
Let's
So then,
see.
for our sake, what would we consider to be?
Yeah, what would we consider to be the log line for what we're?
Well, let me share with you what I've come up with, and then we can certainly make whatever changes. But senior besties reconnect for a road trip to Vegas, or one of them is being inducted into the AVN Hall of Fame. In the twilight of her career, or in the twilight of her life, a former adult film star road trips to Vegas where she's being awarded for her illustrious career. So
in the twilight of her life, say that one more time. And I put the twilight of her life.
in the twilight of her life, a former adult film star road trips to Vegas where she's being awarded for her illustrious career. But I think after our session tonight, I think we need to mention that the other friend,
Right.
the story about the two ladies.
Yeah, because there's a chance that this whole script might actually get written through the perspective of the conservative lady, especially if it starts in the middle, because why on earth would she be in this crazy mess that she's in, whatever that ends up being?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is let's just say road trips with a diverse, this is just putting words in here now, group of acquaintances, I spelled it wrong, but I will fix that. With a diverse group of acquaintances to accept an award at the adult is the AVN is an AVN award, but AVN is a company, isn't it? Adult Video Awards, the Adult Video, thank you.
Yeah, the AVN is Adult Video News.
In Las Vegas. See, that's a draw right there. In Las Vegas. But we can't leave it there.
Well, if we want to leave it there, let's leave it there, but
Okay.
well, let's come up with a number of these.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Okay.
not just try to beat one to death. So what's another way to spin this tale that has the same sort of feel, but has maybe more detail? Maybe if we do choose to do it through the perspective of the conservative friend, it's more of a conservative septuagenarian accepts cross-country invite with nursing home bestie, unaware of her past, which seems destined to find them or something. You know what I'm saying?
I spelled that wrong too. But
That's all right. It'll figure it out for you.
septuagenarian is say that again. A conservative septuagenarian is
I'm like Will Ferrell in Old School. I can only do this stuff once, and then I black out for 3 minutes. So whatever I had, you're gonna have to watch the show and write it out.
is conscripted. I love the word conscripted for some reason. Conscripted to what's she doing? She's accompanying, boy, lots of fancy words here. Accompanying her roommate, a retired adult film star.
And hilarity ensues. Hoig and schmoig.
To the Adult Video Awards in Las Vegas. Okay.
All right.
Ignore.
So,
Conservative septuagenarianism of consistency.
yeah, I can't believe they're allowing septuagenarian
I don't know. I can't tell you. I have no clue. Doesn't say blah, blah, blah. Oh, let's just continue on. We can spell it later. Okay, so how about in pursuit? I love pursuit.
Fixed it.
In pursuit of several nursing home residents to staffers end up at the Adult Film Awards in
Spin it and make it a story about the staff.
Chasing.
Wouldn't it be fun if, because everybody is older, including the staff,
And her.
that when they have these foot chases, that they're like literally just moving in these crazy slow paces and clomping along with walkers and
Right, but the staff gets like thwarted by crowds of people in Vegas or whatever.
yes.
The ladies are just moving at their leisurely pace, and they're just trying to rush to get them, and they're just being,
Jostled and
getting in the way.
right. Somebody blocks them. Hey, watch where the hell you're going. One of those deals. They turn around, the big guy, the classic movie scene.
There we go. In pursuit of several nursing home residents, two staffers end up at the Adult Film Awards in Las Vegas chasing an old porn star and her conservative roommate who've stolen the local ambulance.
Meaning that the story is about the staffers more than the porn star and her roommate. Right. Okay. Terry, what are you thinking?
Wait. Here we go. Let me get down here. Two old broads go on a road trip. So one of these bitches
Jesus.
get award. Okay, that's not where I meant to go with that.
It's an interesting trip, though. Yeah, that was an interesting trip you just made. Let's say
Now, in yours with the
becomes
nursing home staffers, are they kangaroos?
could be
Okay.
concerned grandson takes time away from his college studies to follow his grandmother to the AVN Awards. Follows his grandmother to the AVN Awards and makes the discovery that the old gal used to be a porn star. We can clean that up a little bit.
Dupes a conservative roommate into taking a road trip to Vegas. She can accept a lifetime achievement award.
In pursuit, I love the word pursuit. Pursuit is just I've got a fetish about it. Pursuit. In fact, I'll say that tonight in my sleep. Pursuit.
Aging porn star
Pursuit.
dupes her conservative roommate.
Well, I
I
mean,
added,
a road
there's
trip
one-
to Vegas.
and
so
an
she can
aging
accept
porn
lifetime-
star dupes her conservative roommate into taking a road trip to Vegas so she can accept a lifetime achievement from the adult video news. Or from adult video news.
yep. You got it. That actually is the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Highlight that one, T.
That actually is the best one. So we'll give that an A+. Go ahead and highlight it, Terry, and we'll say that is probably what we will
For now.
That's it for now, yeah.
For now, yeah, because it's quick and concise, and it'll get your attention. An aging porn star dupes her conservative roommate into taking a road trip to Vegas so she can accept a Lifetime Achievement Award from Adult Video News. Yay!
I agree.
Yay, Terry.
I
All right.
agree.
Yay, Terry.
Well, gosh. Again, we're moving a lot of dirt tonight, guys.
Move that dirt.
It's important.
Dirt is important. Remember that.
This is the foundation from which we build. This is important. I like this. An aging porn star dupes her conservative roommate into taking a road trip to Vegas. She can say, "Yep, that's 100% it." Cool. Cool. Well, gosh, this was supposed to take longer, guys.
Right,
Well-
this thing's gonna write itself.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll have 100 pages done and we'll be ready to ship it off to our agents.
Well, we have a few minutes here. Why don't we talk about next week? What do we want? So episode 1 was unpacking Harlots. Episode 2, what should we be doing? Should we be vetting characters? Do we want to start taking some time immediately, just kind of put the story off to the side a little bit and just develop these people?
I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So are we looking at this as a mockumentary type thing, like Best in Show, or we looking at this as an actual dramatic? We're using the beats that Terry talked about and sent. We're using which even in the mockumentary there's still beats, but there's also room for improv. So I mean it's another thing to think about. Do improv. Oh, go ahead, Terry.
No, I'm not opposed to that type of story for this, like the Best in Show, where we give those characters room to improv. But
Waiting for Guffman, that type of thing.
I think I like to approach it as more of a dramedy, a dramatic.
Velma and Louise meets like Euro Trip.
Yeah, because if we do that and we write and we script it out, we have a really good story. If we decide once we're finished with it that we really like it, but we want to try to do it on our own, then I think we can make that story and take some elements of it and make it improvised with the characters that we cast to do it. But for now, but
I want to write this script so damn good that we don't want anybody to improvise anything. I want this to just be so watertight that somebody looks at it and immediately they just understand what's up and they get after it.
Yeah.
Even to the point of giving them character development sheets so that they know exactly what this person's past is too, which I don't know if people do, but I think giving the actors not only an idea of what's up, but the full research of what's up is super important.
A lot of actors do that on their own. That's one of the things that in conservatory training you give. You're getting ready to do a scene, so in your head you do whatever happened before that particular scene, even though it's fictional. And we used to do a lot of that stuff in some Shakespeare interpretation. Where
Move that way a little bit, Ed. You're slipping off screen. Thank you. Perfect.
There. Rather than move me, I moved the box. But they would, you do a scene from Shakespeare, and then after that, you would interpret what happened after that scene.
Right.
So you've got two ways to go. You can, in your head, say this happened before. Now you do the scene, but this is going to happen after. So it kind of infects the whole thing with the continuity, even though you don't see the previous scene.
So let's plan on next episode. Do we just want to devote the whole damn thing to Judy Jones, porn star, or are we going to? Do we want to do Grace? I guess determining whose voice this is going to be spoken through is going to be important, because that's going to, our main character has to be our deepest character.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. But then again, it's kind of like in real life, it's kind of up in the air who is going to emerge as a true protagonist. So we could write like we did the log lines. We could write it from 3 different points of view.
Yeah, yeah.
And figure out which one of those jumps out at us just like this. So we could take it from the grandson or grandchild. We could take it from the staffers, which is an interesting, you think about, was it Jack Nicholson in, what was that, with Randy Quaid's first movie? Oh shit, they're taken into jail. Jack Nicholson and some other actor are taken into jail. Oh shoot, they're sailors. Anyway, but The Last Detail, I think, maybe, I'm not sure. But it could be from that perspective. It could be from, like we've already said, it could be from the porn star. It could be from the conservative one. The idea is to take that and how is it going to end?
Right.
We need to say, okay, if it's this person, then it needs to show up like this. These are the things we have to figure out. So we can go from those and then just take a look at it and see what it looks like.
So for now, let's just pick one person, Judy Jones, and we will just fully vet Judy. So basically, the next episode is just going to be Judy Jones.
That's great.
Are we all right with that?
Be all Judy. All Judy all the time.
Judy. We're gonna talk about what she did. We're gonna talk about what she didn't do. We're gonna talk about where she was born, where she was raised, where she grew up, who her friends were, what sports she was in, what kind of school she went to, what part of town she lived on, what the Dairy Queen served on Tuesdays, everything. We want to know everything about Judy Jones.
Look at Wikipedia. We're going to go to Wikipedia and...
Yep. Judy Jones-apedia.
Judy Jones. We should create a Judy Jones page on Wikipedia.
We ought to do Fistopedia.
Yes.
Because it's Fist Place Productions. Ed, Fistopedia,
okay.
5ST. Fistopedia. This is part of the larger Fistiverse, Ed. You're part of the Fistiverse right now. You're not acting very excited about it.
Well, no,
For the newest member of the Fistiverse, you're not seeming like you want to be here.
Well, what you did was you kind of kicked in something. And we talked about this a little bit earlier about how this is going to be visual for other people to take a look at.
Sure.
One of the first YouTube series I saw was called Meet the Joneses, and I think I told you a little bit about it earlier, where this woman finds out she's one of 21 in vitro fertilized sperm, and she's going out looking for her relatives. Part of what they did in that show, which was underwritten by Ford and in Britain and everything else, but like I said, they'll produce about anything there. But the idea is that there was a wiki that went with that. There was a wiki that other people could get on and type suggestions or type, their comments or whatever. The thing about it is you have to moderate something like that. But the idea of having suggestions from the audience of how many have we got? Let me see.
It's just my wife. Literally, we don't have another person on here except for my wife.
Your wife can comment on it.
Terry's wife isn't on. Your girlfriend's not on. My wife's on.
No, and kudos to you. I hope the tequila's working.
All right, guys, we got to wrap it up for this episode.
What Dairy Queen served on Tuesdays?
What's that?
What Dairy Queen served on Tuesdays?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say, man? We just want to vet the character out.
All right,
So next week, next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 o'clock, Judy Jones. Next Tuesday, Fist Deep. We'll be back. Normal time, normal
Those two guys,
day.
not me, and then I'm on Thursdays at this point. So.
Yes. Tuesdays at 8, Fist Deep will be Jerry Goebel this week. Next week will be Judy Jones. And then the week after that will be our first day with Chandrea.
Gentlemen, this has been a really great experience.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man.
If anybody else other than your wife gets to watch it, Jake, I'd be pleased. But I would hope that she has learned a couple of things maybe tonight.
I'll tell you what, dude, we did some work today. We did
Yeah,
the
we
Lord's
did.
work. I feel good about it.
Me too. Let's write a movie. I'm
All right.
excited.
And we are out.
Hell of a show, guys. Hell of a show.